Hi guys, this is Marcus here with another episode of the Dolphins Zone. As you can see by my hat, my flag, and my sweatshirt, I'm a huge Dolphins fan. I haven't posted one of these videos in a while, but I just wanted to talk to you guys for a brief second um, about the Dolphins. And if you're watching this video and it's way after the thing, this is just for an informal thing. I'm not gonna really give any necessary things. I'm just gonna give my honest opinion about something. What's today? When I record this video? I guess December 31st, 2023. It's now officially 2024. Now that I look at my clock. I just want to say that yesterday's loss to the Baltimore Ravens, I kind of expected us to lose only for the simple fact that, Baltimore has more physicality where we're just more of a speed and finesse team. But the way that we lost and by the amount of points that we lost um, did not sit well with me. And, you know, we suffered some pretty severe injuries. I'm not really going to go over that too much. I just want to give my honest opinion about it, but let's just put it this way. I have seen some games where we've played good, and then I've seen games where we've gotten our ass kicked. Pardon my language. But the interesting thing is I look at this game, and due to uncertainties of YouTube copyright, I will not be allowed to show any highlights to prove my point here. But I want you guys to go back and look at the highlights of the game. Okay, there were plays that Tua Tagovailoa normally makes, and he had virtually not very much pressure. He just couldn't make the throws, and I found it very mind-boggling that he couldn't make the throws. And there were a couple drops that didn't help, obviously. When you look at the stats, and ultimately stats don't matter if you lose, obviously. But um, our offense didn't play good, but it also didn't play bad either. I mean, granted, our quarterback Tua Tagovailoa threw two interceptions, I believe it was. But when you look at the bigger picture, it's really easy to blame a player, but you got to understand the circumstances around that player. You know, it's easy to blame a person for something that was a bad throw or for thing, and than it is for that's not his own fault. The one interception was kind of his fault, but to be fair, there should have been a holding call on the NFL officials, but it is what it is. Whatever's called is called. Whatever's not called is not called. He can't change that fact. The second interception was not to his fault. It was good ball placement. It was a good throw. I would have probably made the same throw if I was quarterbacking. The issue was the receiver didn't catch it, bounced off the helmet, and then, yeah. But the one thing that did not sit well with me was the fact that we still had our starters in with like 3 minutes left in the game, and it was far out of reach for us to even make a comeback. And we still had our starters in, and one of our star players got very, very injured, and um, he could be done for the rest of the season. This is week 17. There's one more week left in the season. It's just very disheartening to see this happen, especially in the way that it did. Bradley Chubb, one of our best pass rushers. Hopefully, it's not as severe as they think it is, but it did not look good. And virtually, without Bradley Chubb, our defense is virtually nothing. And unfortunately, at this point, I don't necessarily think that we would be able to get past some teams. The only way I can see us doing good in the playoffs is if somehow we defeat Buffalo next week and win the wild card, or I mean, get the 2 seed by winning the division. Otherwise, we're in the wild card. If we get in the wild card, I virtually see no chance of us getting past the divisional round. I think the wild card, there's some pretty easy teams to beat in the wild card round, but as far as the divisional round, it's going to be tough for us. And um, but I like our chances a lot better for the 2 seed. But ultimately, what happens happens. You can't control it, and as fans, we need to realize this. Um, you know, I believe that you're only as good as how you play. That's the mantra in football, and I'm willing to admit I throw huge tantrums over bad plays, over bad play calls, and stupid decisions, and I scream and yell at the TV because of refs making dumb decisions. It's because I get too involved and I get too wrapped up in everything. And I used to never be like that as a fan. But ever since, you know, the Dolphins have started to be really, really good and whatnot, we used to be not so good as a team. And I've kind of been more passionate and I think I've gotten a little carried away with, my team. And my team has been important to me for at least 10, 15 years. I've been a Dolphins fan. I'm 23 years old, so that tells you something. Um, but, I just wanted to sit down and have this real to real chat with you guys. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's even harder to be a fan, not be that kind of guy that is really passionate and being the guy that makes a dumbass decision. Sorry for my language. But when you make bad decisions as a person, you can always learn and reflect for that. And I try to cut back on the extremeness, um, you know, and I'm trying to work on that. But at the end of the day, I'm a Dolphins fan first, last, and always. And I still like watching the Super Bowl, even if my team's not in it, because that's what you do as a football team. And there's nothing wrong liking other football teams in addition to your number one team, especially if your number one team doesn't make the playoffs. I have 4 other teams that I follow, but I'm hardcore Miami all the way. And if there's other Dolphins fans on YouTube who see this and they want to ridicule me for that, that's up to you. I don't really care. But I just want to say that what is done is done. There's nothing that we can do about it, you know? And I just got this Dolphins hat yesterday as a Secret Santa gift from uh, work. One of my managers got it for me at my work, and it is what it is. If he's watching this video, the guy who gave me this hat, I just want to say thank you, Will, for being my Secret Santa. Merry late Christmas, Happy New Year to you, and thanks for that. But it's a very devastating and irritating loss for us, and it hurts. It really does. I've been a fan of the Dolphins, like I said, for most of my life. When I was younger, I used to be a Packers fan, only mainly because my dad was a Packers fan and that was his team, so I always kind of followed his team with him. But then I reached the age of reason, and and for a while I didn't really have a team. For about a 2 to 3 year period, I was a Vikings fan, and I did that just to irritate my father, and I loved the reaction that he gave me for being a Vikings fan. And then it was mainly because of Brett Favre, so I was kind of on that Favre bandwagon a bit. And then when I moved, and then one day when I saw Miami Dolphins hat in the store, I liked it. And then whenever I saw a couple Dolphins games, and I looked at Ricky Williams, Brown era, right around that time. Those guys were phenomenal, especially Ricky Williams. He deserves to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I believe he's in. I'm not sure if he is, but he deserves to be in it. Trent Green was a quarterback that we had too around that time. He was a decent quarterback. He was an underrated quarterback, if you ask me. Um, but those were the players that really got me hooked on the Miami Dolphins. You know, bottom line, those were the guys that got me hooked on the Miami Dolphins. Um, and I've been a Dolphins fan ever since. So I just kind of wanted to give you my 2 cents worth and share my opinion on the games. I'm not going to bother with the stats because, like I said, some of you might be watching this at a later time. But I just want to reiterate that football evolves, football changes. I want to be positive about my team. And that's what I'm trying to do from a fan standpoint is to try to be positive about this. So I've spoken long enough, as you know. Um, I am going to be doing another Dolphins video where I unwrap a YouTube order that I got. I've got two separate ones that pertain to Miami Dolphins. It's not a YouTube order; it's actually an eBay order. Um, I bought a Miami Dolphins Tua Tagovailoa throwback jersey and then some vintage Super Bowl era Dolphins cards, including Larry Zonka, Larry Little, the whole 9 yards. So when I get those items, I will do a video then um, to celebrate the Miami Dolphins and everything Dolphins. So if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. See you guys.